I'll never forget the look on my wife's face, pure devastation, like someone had ripped her heart out and tossed it in the trash. She was 7 months pregnant, craving her mom's special lasagna recipe, and I'd spent hours perfecting it for her, only for my mother-in-law to throw it out like it was garbage. Let me back up. My wife Sarah and I have been married for 3 years, and we're expecting our first child, a little girl we've already named Lily. Sarah's pregnancy hasn't been easy. Morning sickness hit her hard, and her cravings are intense but specific. Her mom's lasagna, a family recipe passed down from her Italian grandmother, is her ultimate comfort food. It's not just food to her. It's love, nostalgia, and a connection to her late mom, who passed away when Sarah was a teenager. When Sarah's craving for it hit last week, she was almost in tears, describing how much she needed it. I'm no chef, but I'm a decent cook, so I called Sarah's aunt for the recipe, spent hours sourcing the exact ingredients, and made it with every ounce of care I could muster. The kitchen smelled like heaven, and Sarah's eyes lit up when she saw the bubbling dish come out of the oven. She was so happy she cried, hugging me like I'd just given her the world. Enter my mother-in-law, Diane. Diane's a lot. She's the kind of person who walks into a room and takes over, always with an opinion and zero filter. She's been staying with us for a week to help with the pregnancy, but it's been more like her trying to control everything: our nursery plans, Sarah's diet, even how we fold our laundry. Sarah's too sweet to push back, but I can see it wearing her down. Diane's always been critical of me, too, dropping snide comments about my job. I'm a graphic designer, which she thinks is cute, but not real work. Still, I grit my teeth and deal with it for Sarah's sake. That night, we were all set to eat the lasagna. Sarah was practically glowing, talking about how she couldn't wait to share this recipe with Lily someday. Diane, though, was in one of her moods, huffing about how the kitchen was a mess. It wasn't, and how I shouldn't be wasting time cooking when I could have just ordered takeout. I ignored her and we sat down to eat. Sarah took one bite, closed her eyes and said, "This is perfect." I swear my heart grew 3 sizes. But then disaster. Sarah got a call from her boss, some work emergency, and had to step away for a few minutes. I went to check on the nursery furniture we'd been assembling, leaving Diane alone in the kitchen. When Sarah came back, her plate was gone. She looked confused, then panicked, searching the counter, the fridge, even the oven. "Where's my lasagna?" she asked, voice trembling. Diane, casually sipping her wine, said, "Oh, I threw it out. It was getting cold, and I didn't think you'd want it sitting there." Sarah froze. I walked in just in time to see her face crumple. "You threw it out?" she whispered like she couldn't believe it. Diane shrugged like it was no big deal and said, "It's just food, Sarah. You're being dramatic." I was livid, but before I could say anything, Sarah ran upstairs, sobbing. I followed her and she was curled up on our bed, crying so hard she could barely breathe. "That was Mom's lasagna," she kept saying. It was all I had of her tonight. I held her, feeling helpless, my anger at Diane boiling over. I wanted to storm downstairs and let her have it, but Sarah begged me to let it go. "She doesn't understand," she said. "She never will." The next day, Sarah was quiet, but I could see something brewing in her eyes, a mix of hurt and determination I'd never seen before. Diane acted like nothing happened, prattling on about her plans to redecorate our nursery, without asking us. I thought Sarah would just swallow her pain like she usually does, but I was wrong. That afternoon, while Diane was out running errands, Sarah went into the kitchen and started cooking again. I assumed she was making something simple to cheer herself up, but when I peeked in, she was meticulously preparing Diane's favorite dish. A complicated beef Wellington recipe Diane had bragged about perfecting for years. Sarah spent hours on it, her hands steady but her jaw tight. I asked what she was doing and she just said, "You'll see." Here's where the twist comes in. Unbeknownst to me, Sarah had invited Diane's sister, Linda, over for dinner. Linda and Diane have a complicated history, think sibling rivalry on steroids. Linda's the polar opposite of Diane. Warm, empathetic, and fiercely protective of Sarah. She's also the one person Diane can't stand to be outdone by. When Linda arrived, Sarah greeted her with a hug and said, "I made something special for you." Diane walked in just as Sarah was serving the beef Wellington, perfectly golden and fragrant, to Linda. Diane's face went white. "Is that my recipe?" she stammered. Sarah smiled sweetly and said, "Oh no, I tweaked it a bit. Linda deserves the best, don't you think?" Linda, picking up on the vibe, took a dramatic bite and moaned in delight. "Sarah, this is incredible. Better than anything I've ever tasted." Diane's jaw dropped. She tried to laugh it off, saying, "Well, I'm sure it's fine, but my version is the family standard." Sarah didn't miss a beat. "Is it? Because I used your recipe as a starting point, but I made it better. Kind of like how you thought my lasagna wasn't good enough to keep." The room went silent. Linda's eyes widened and she looked between Sarah and Diane, clearly catching on. Diane tried to play it cool, but you could see the sting in her eyes. She took a bite of the Wellington, and I swear she looked like she was chewing glass. "It's fine," she muttered, but her voice was shaking. Linda, bless her, kept raving about Sarah's cooking, saying she'd have to get the recipe and make it for her book club. Sarah just smiled and said, "I'd be happy to share it. After all, food's meant to be shared, not thrown away." That night, Diane lost it. She started ranting to anyone who'd listen, her friends, her cousins, even posting vague, passive-aggressive stuff on Facebook about ungrateful kids and disrespect. She called Sarah manipulative and accused her of trying to steal her recipe to impress Linda. Sarah didn't engage, but I could tell it hurt her. She told me later, "I just wanted her to feel what I felt, to know what it's like to have something you love taken away." I was proud of her for standing up for herself, but I also felt torn. Diane's been calling me nonstop, saying Sarah humiliated her and that I need to control my wife. I told her Sarah doesn't need controlling, she's a grown woman who's pregnant and grieving her mom, and maybe Diane should think about that before throwing out her food. Diane hung up on me. Now the family's divided. Some say Sarah went too far, that she should have just talked to Diane instead of scheming with the beef Wellington stunt. Others, like Linda, think Diane had it coming and that Sarah's revenge was genius. I'm stuck in the middle. I love Sarah, and I get why she did it. Diane's been overstepping for years, and this was the last straw. But I also know Diane's not going to let this go, and it's turning into a full-blown family feud. Sarah's starting to second-guess herself, wondering if she crossed a line. She's been quieter since, and I'm worried the stress isn't good for her or the baby. So, Reddit, AITA for letting my wife get her revenge? Or is Diane the one who needs to check herself? I just want peace in our house again, but I don't know how to get there without someone getting hurt. Sarah's my hero for standing up to Diane, but I can't shake the feeling that this drama's far from over. What do you think?